All right, Sistas fans, hope everybody's doing well. We're talking Season 3, Episode 14, entitled One Word Answers. And well, I live tweeted for the first time and Lord knows when. Yes, I actually finally got things worked out with Dish Network to set up an online account. That way I'm able to access live TV from my computer, because they don't have like a Roku TV app or anything like that. I mean, you can watch it on your phone, but I'm trying to watch it on big screen. So, HDMI cable as always. So I hooked it up to my TV. I had the episode on the TV, had Twitter up. It was great. Some people are like, oh my gosh, you're back doing it. Yeah. I wanted to live stream too, but I couldn't find my webcam until like 11:30. And I'm like, it's too late now. But I did find my external webcam, so I can attach that to do a live stream maybe next week after the episode. But this was one of the better episodes of Season 3. Now, you all know I still stand by what I say, that Season 3 so far has just been the worst season of the series yet. But this episode, it had flaws. Trust and believe. I will get to them. But I am going to give it a 7 out of 10 because I did enjoy it, honestly. Even though there are moments that frustrated me, I did enjoy it. And I know the first scene, well, actually the second scene, to just see the girls unwind and just chill. It's been a while since we've seen that. I mean, sure, we had the moment where they were at the restaurant earlier this season. That was the episode where El Fuego was first introduced, and then Karen busted up the party because she announced that Jasmine was suing everybody. And then, of course, that was the same time that Andy was having drinks with Robin, and then Gary showed up. But to just see these girls have a moment, a sister circle moment, yeah, it's been a long time coming. At least it feels like that way to me. But before going further in the video, make sure you take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the content. Also, hit subscribe. We are less than 2,200 people away from 190,000 subscribers, which is a big deal. And the subscriber watch time is going up, guys. We are now at about 32 or 33% when I checked the numbers this morning, which tells me non-subscribers are helping out the channel by hitting the subscribe button. Also, hit that bell icon and select all, because I don't want you to miss out when I post content on the channel. Just remember, Our Kind of Entertainment is the new channel name, so you won't be getting notified from the haves and the have-nots review anymore. More people have been taking notice of this, which could explain why there's been an increase of views. We're kind of getting back to normal with the views, the ad revenue. It's all coming back together. And finally, links to all the social media in the description box below. Thank you for all the support. Let's get into the review, folks. So we pick up where we left off. Maurice is telling Peggy to get dressed, like what the hell's going on here, and Calvin is cleverly hiding his private parts. Well, at least the camera angle shows him like Sabrina's purse, so he's trying to explain the situation. So when he rushes to go back in the room to put on some pants, Sabrina just leaves, and then him and Maurice kind of go at it. And, wait, is that my barbecue sauce? What's going on here? So Calvin thinks he did nothing wrong because Sabrina won't commit. So let's pause there for a second. And I'm just confused my damn self, because wasn't the episode the show came back on called The Dollar Store, right? And you had Sabrina and Calvin make up because Sabrina... Yeah, Calvin got up the next morning and left because they both needed to go to work and whatnot. So I know Calvin stated that, hey, I respect the fact you're not ready to commit, but please, let me know before you see somebody else. And she's like, yeah, I will. And the fact that he set that ground rule for them to follow, he then goes out of his way to just screw around with Peggy a few hours later into the day because he's pissed off at Maurice. Like, what are you two even doing here? It's the middle of the day. Shouldn't y'all be at work? Like, come on, bro. Just no. So that's my main thing about Calvin. I hate it. Now, if let's say he didn't say that at all about seeing other people, and it was just like, well, are you going to be seeing Jacoby anymore? That's kind of different because there's no ground rule established. You look like a hypocrite and a bad one at that. It's seriously the fact that you made up with Sabrina, but then a few hours later you're in bed with somebody else. Like, what does that say about you as a man, you know? So Calvin, even though I love the moment coming up where he stands up to the women, it just sucks that, no pun intended, it just sucks that he's made to be this like hard ass in the episode. I'm using the wrong puns today. This stern, in control man, if you will, putting his foot down, but you literally went against the boundary you set up, so you look incredibly arrogant and stupid. So Tyler should have written this differently, in my opinion. Like, let's say, again, they did not establish the whole checking in before seeing other people thing. And it was just kind of like, well, I mean, when you're ready to commit, you are, but I'm glad we made up in our own better terms, but how long am I supposed to wait? That kind of thing. That way it would semi-justify him getting with Peggy. But even still, the fact that it was only a few hours after you crawl out of bed with Sabrina, no. So from there, the girls are waiting on Sabrina at her apartment. It's Andy, Karen, and Danny. I'm very look, I know I talk about this a lot, but I'm very confused about the time of the day, like how much time has passed. So I was under the assumption, you know, with Maurice supposed to open the bank, and banks typically open at what, maybe 8 or 9 o'clock, that Sabrina probably got to the bank maybe around, you know, maybe between maybe 8:30 and 10. I'm going to be nice and say 10 a.m. So then, you know, with the whole robbery and everything, and then the cops showing up, the questioning, and then the bank shutting down, you would expect them to, well, be back at Maurice's place, give or take noonish. And then all of a sudden, all the women are already off work, and then Sabrina comes over. So I'm confused as hell right now. Like, it would be different if, let's say, this was their lunch break, but with all the drinking they were doing, you know, I don't even think that was the case. So it's supposed to be like 6 at night, even though Calvin literally said it was the middle of the day. Make it make sense, Jesus. So I like this moment. Karen, you know, pulls out the drinks because they kind of crack on Sabrina. Yeah, even when she has something to drink, it's cheap stuff. She ain't got nothing there. And when Sabrina does show up, she talks about how Calvin drank everything. So that has to be a nod to, well, did they drink when he came during the mid-season finale of season 3? I don't think they did. I don't remember. I know that, what was it, way back in season 1 when he came over after one of his dads died, he got super drunk and passed out. And that's when they drunk a lot of the good stuff. But in any case, you know, Danny has a lot of stuff from the airport. And, you know, they get some glasses and they just chat. And Karen's like, you know, yeah, Maurice should feel bad, you know, for being involved in this. And they'd say, what about little JJ? Yeah, the guy you used to go with who robbed liquor stores. That was different. No, it won't. So from there, they just chill and unwind, because just remember in season 1 it was all about, you know, smoking the joint. Like, seriously, season 1 sisters, they will always pull out a joint whenever they were stressed out. So Sabrina comes in and she's more upset about the Calvin situation than the bank situation, so the girls comfort her just to see what happened. So she recaps the events of the bank and the fact that Q is on the loose, even though, and this is what makes less sense to me than the whole, like, what time is it supposed to be? The officer that spoke to Maurice and Sabrina said they had set up a perimeter and there are over 40 cops. And you're telling me they haven't caught Q and those guys. So they're still out there. What the hell? Okay, so when they start getting in on Sabrina, who has taken a bit too many sips at this point, loose lips. Hey, let's talk about Karen and the Look, I know I did that video yesterday because they released a surprise trailer like a few hours before the show aired, and everybody's like, those drunk hiccups you did for Andy were hilarious. So I don't want to overdo it, so I will only use them when applicable. So I'm only speaking as drunk Sabrina now. You know, girls, y'all are getting on my case about the bank robbery, and guys, please don't judge Maurice. Maurice, he didn't know you would do something like this. But the thing about Calvin is, I go home to drop off Maurice, and there's a naked white woman who is whiter. She's as white as a pint of milk. She was butt naked in the fridge, and then Calvin came out naked too, and I left before he could explain. Well, let's talk about the proposal, Karen. No. So yeah, it was a funny moment because Sabrina was trying to get the tension off of her and shift gears to Karen. And the girls are like, proposal, which is an interesting thing because it's like, wow, I was surprised Andy didn't. Well, Andy was quiet for a reason. So it's surprising that, Andy didn't say anything. So it's like, imagine if she did accept the proposal. I wonder if Andy would have threw shade, or even Danny, like, oh, wow, so you want to come down on Andy about, almost accepting Gary's surprise wedding, but here you are accepting Aaron's proposal. Honestly, even if they did that, I feel like there are some major differences there, but I'm not going to get into this video, because that's a topic in itself. But Sabrina's like, she didn't accept it because she's still in love with Zach. He came in there with a fat check, $72,000. Ain't even like that, Sabrina. So, Andy asked the question, are you still feeling Zach like that? We got history, and I can't just give it up. And I've been thinking about him a lot. The history just doesn't go away, and the girls are teasing her. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just frustrating because we know she's going to be bitter. And then the question arises from Danny about whether or not Fatima and Zach are involved with each other. And Andy just, for an attorney, she's a very bad liar. She does not have a good poker face because Karen's standing right beside her. Sabrina is drunk in the corner, and Danny's like waiting for the tea to spill. But she dodges the questions, and she acts like she doesn't know anything. And the debate can be made about whether or not Andy should or shouldn't tell Karen what's going on. But maybe I'll do that in a separate video. But I will say one of my favorite answers that I've seen online is that if Andy said anything, it should just be blunt and to the point that Karen, Fatima, and Zach are just, doing their thing, and it's probably best for you to just move on because it looks like it's serious. But even if she didn't say that, some people said she didn't need to say anything at all, but it's just the fact that as a best friend, and if she wanted to tell Karen what's best for her to hear, it's the truth. So there's that aspect of it. But, it just depends on how you feel about the situation overall. But Andy just said, I don't know anything, I'm just her boss. And I think Sabrina or Danny, but I think Sabrina said, Your boss, but you're the one who was trying to, tell us to get friendly with her, huh? Add to the circle of friends. I need to know. Danny, you got more to drink. So, I didn't like how Andy tried to underplay or downplay her dynamic or friendship with Fatima, because I mentioned this in I think the video I did yesterday about the promo about, how Fatima, in the preview, you got Karen saying, after all we've been through, I've had your back through so many things, and you're going to move like this, basically dodging the questions and not telling Karen about Fatima and Zach. But it's like Fatima, even though it's been a shorter friendship with Andy than Karen, she's been in the trenches. Basically, Fatima's proved she's a real one in a short amount of time. So, Karen is just in her feelings saying, well, yeah, if there was something to tell me, I know Andy would tell me. But, like I said before, and what the people online have been saying, the only thing, Andy should say, if she said anything, is they're getting serious, and that's about it. So, I don't really know what the girls want Andy to say or do at that point. So, thankfully, Saved by the Bell, there's a knock on the door, and it's Calvin, and he's like, uh-oh. So, it's funny to me because he turns all meek and polite like, I didn't know you had company. But the last time Calvin was there, he just barged on in and then told Jacoby to get out. But in this case, he's trying to act all polite, like, I'll come back in another time. Oh, we're not company. We're family. Now, like I said before, if it would have been shifted gears in regards to the quote unquote checking in with each other thing, I would feel completely on Calvin's side. Like, you know what? Go on, Calvin. Like, I still don't see why the character's still in the show, but damn it, he's doing good right here. He's telling these women off. But he comes in and quote unquote explains the situation. And you know, Danny just goes in on like the panties and vibrator. But when he says F you, Danny, I'm like, you know what, Calvin, go ahead now. Because of the fact that he's not going to sit up here and deal with these hecklers or these spokespersons or, you know, basically the spokespeople for Sabrina. He says, look, I like the vibrator and whatnot. Because, yeah, he literally is, you know, just saying, this is who I am. So, 8 p.m. dinner at my place. I expect you to be there. And, I mean, yeah, I don't know. If you want to come, yeah, you're going to be there. So, it's up to you to decide who you think I am. Like, I don't think he was going to say the B word. He's like, watch it. But it's just the fact that these people who just talk for you, it's up to you to decide if you want to believe them and what they say or think about me, or if you want to believe what I say or I tell you about who I really am. And then he leaves. And then as soon as he leaves, Andy's like, we don't talk too much. We don't stay in people's business. Like, man, come on now. I know this is supposed to be a comedic scene, so I'm not going to be hard on it. I just thought it was funny. And I'm just so glad because I feel like I don't think Preston needs to like have a moment like this, but maybe Zach will probably need to have a moment like this. But I'll admit, kudos to Calvin, but the fact that you win, it's like, look, you're the one who said you don't want to commit, so I'm going to see whoever I want to see. But again, you just screwed yourself over due to the fact that you're the one who didn't check in with her after you're the one who set that rule. So it is what it is. So his argument, while I loved it, it was just, you literally poked a ton of holes in your own argument, because how are you going to make up with Sabrina in the apartment you're standing in at that moment? You're going to make up with Sabrina, have a wonderful night together, roll out of her bed, and then a few hours later be in your own bed with another woman, and then expect her to come back to the apartment and have dinner with you? Even if the women weren't there, I don't think Sabrina would go. So from there, Danny gets a call from Preston. Andy says, I want to go home and talk with Gary. And Karen says, I want to call Zach. And it's like, what the fuck? And then asks Danny, and she asks Andy one more time if there's anything she has to say. But nope, there's nothing. It's like, I want to call Zach. Anybody got a problem with that? Andy, is there something you want to tell me? No. So from there, Sabrina asked about the whole Jasmine lawsuit situation. And Andy's like, no, it's not your thing to worry about. I'm going to handle it. And the ladies leave. And I'm like, no, I mean, it is their business, Andy, because Jasmine's suing all of them. Because in her lawsuit, it says that all the women were Andy's accomplices, meaning that if Andy goes down, they go down too. So yeah, it's their thing to worry about. And we haven't seen Andy try to work on this thing at all. So yeah, I will be iffy about the situation too. So we get back to Danny getting home and greeting Preston, and she's all nice and like, hey, how you doing? How's your day? And he's like, yeah, well, I was nervous about coming over. I didn't know if you would accept the call. What do you mean? Because you want to see me, but not just every day. And to really sum up the scene, the roles are reversed, because while Danny is being, well, surprisingly talkative and trying to engage in conversation, Preston is being cold and, as the title says, and even Danny says, giving one-word answers. Preston's only acting like Danny's been acting for the past, well, this entire season. That's pretty much it. And he's not sure what to say because she doesn't know what he likes. And I know every time I've tried to talk about my job and cows or music, you say you don't like this, you don't like this. And, well, to be blunt, I came to, have sex. He says the F word, but I'm not trying to get censored or demonetized here. So I just came to have sex. And she doesn't want to have sex like this. He essentially just wants to have a DTR moment to find their relationship, and he starts to take off his shirt, and then, starts to say the kind of things from rap music, but she doesn't like this. And he's like, fine, how about this? Let's open up. In order to get close with each other, you need to open up more, be more vulnerable. And she's all, I don't like this. It's like an interrogation. But I mean, essentially, he kind of lays down the gauntlet in terms of, well, here's the thing. We can just talk and get to know each other. Like, what do we have in common aside from having sex? Literally, that's it. Music, work, lifestyles. I want to know about how you grew up. You can learn about how I grew up. And if we have enough in common, that's great. We can do this. If not, we're just going to have sex. And she's like, nope, we're not. So I'm not mad at Preston. Like, I get it. I mean, think of it from his perspective. 1 minute we're all cool, but then the next minute you've been acting cold for a few days. And then essentially you say space, which, Preston translated as, well, I need to leave. And to be honest, even though Danni makes it seem like you're the one who just left and whatnot, look how excited Danni was to come home and find Preston there, because he did what she pretty much said. Oh, come around every once in a while, not there all the time. So it's just weird. So we go over to Andy and Gary, and, Gary doesn't even greet her when she gets home. And it turns out he actually bought his own place. It's getting painted right now. And, she pretty much goes in on his therapist about being a quack. And it's like, she wants you, Gary. The fact that she wanted you in the bed of your fiance without letting her know about the situation. That's pretty much it. He's pretty much saying, look, my therapist said you would say everything you just said. I'm not trying to deal with the name calling. And to be completely honest here, who's to say Gary ain't in the wrong, because of the fact that, well, as he pointed out, my therapist says you love drama. And guess what? Who was the only one starting shit as soon as Andy and Gary were both in the same place? It was her. So Gary just says, I'll leave, because Andy's like, look, the sooner you leave, the better. Well, Andy, look, if I leave, then I'm gone for good. And he leaves, but given that he's in season 4, he's probably not going to leave anytime soon, but he's gone for now. But my goodness, we get to the next scene. Zach gets over to Fatima's apartment with some flowers, and Fatima, Lord have mercy, from the nylons to the lingerie. Look, I don't know the proper name. I know I think it was was it in the Oval when Blakely and Max had sex? I think I said lingerie, and somebody's like, no, it wasn't lingerie. It was just her drawers and a bra. I'm going to say lingerie because it sounds very classy. Fatima, the way she's built, my goodness. Not a stick. She thick. Holy crap. So he's like, hey, I got the house. Yeah, they accepted my offer, closed the deal. I'm going to be moving in soon. So both Zach and Gary got their own spots. So she agrees to help him decorate, pick out a bed, and he says move in with her. And I move in with him, but she's not really for that right now. And, he just says, look, I appreciate you. You're, all my life had women take care of me. But you just done something different. You're like my good luck charm. Everything's been looking up since I've been with you, and I want to take care of you. Zach, that's sweet. That's cool. But come on now, just slow your roll. Just enjoy the bachelor life. I'm not saying you got to have 50 women running through your place, but enjoy your own space. What did they say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Have Fatima stop by every now and then, just like what Danni and Preston are doing right now, it seems. And hell, after that, they get it on. We don't see it, unfortunately. But, instead of the shower, because I thought to myself, Fatima was like, yeah, I don't want to mess up my hair. I'm thinking, yeah, you sure as hell can't go to Karen's shop anymore. But then again, I know Fatima isn't Karen's favorite person right now. But given that she's barely got any clients on the books, I feel like she would be so desperate that she would accept Fatima's business. So they get it on. And, Karen is back at home in a different outfit. She leaves Zach a voicemail, and she's like, hey, Zach, I'm glad you unblocked me. And I'm like, damn it, Zach, why'd you unblock her? So yeah, thanks for unblocking me, and I just need you to come by my place so we can just talk. It's like, girl, move on. But then there's a knock on the door, and Aaron comes in. He brought Chinese food, and she apparently forgot it was Wednesday night. I love how it's Wednesday night, and Sistas comes on Wednesday night. And apparently she forgot that he was coming over. And he notices, well, you're wearing a nice dress, you got candles, are you expecting someone? No, it's just, this thing with the girls. I just came home, I wanted to be zen, be chill, be in the mood. Oh, okay, sure. So we know it was for Zach because she Heifer, he over there with his new woman, he got a new house, he ain't thinking about you in your apartment. So, from there, he's like, hey, you want to pick a movie? And she's like, no, you can pick the movie. She's completely spaced out right now. Her mind is on somebody else who's in bed with somebody else. So from there, Maurice sees Calvin cooking all this good-looking food for Sabrina. Maurice pretty says, look, she ain't coming. It's 8:05. There's a knock on the door. And I forget his name, but it's the dude that works at the gay bar. He comes by to check in on Maurice because everybody knows about the robbery situation. And, he just tries to cheer him up about, going out or having Mexican food. Or no, having Mexican food and whatnot. Just basically to lift his spirits. Essentially, that's it. And Calvin ain't letting nobody touch a roll or a potato or nothing because he's in the now. So from there, Preston tells Danni about, and I couldn't make out what he said because Danny's like, yeah, that happened to me too. But then the next thing that was mentioned was something along the lines of, I love cows and I got a whooping, a big one, because I let my favorite cow out. And, it's hard because you get attached to them, but they go to a slaughterhouse. But then they come to grips with the fact that they have enough in common to continue seeing each other. Sure, they had different upbringings, but some things are just the same regardless of race or ethnicity or, social class, if you will. So they decide to sex it up, if you will. But he's just spouting off all these slang terms and street language. And then as soon as he's like, wop in my mouth, it ain't really wop right now. So it was a cute moment. So I'm glad that Danni was finally open to having a discussion, because I think earlier in the episode when they had their first scene when she got home, she talked about how, what all this dancing around the subject and whatnot and beating around the bush. And I'm like, Danni, Preston comes in with a quote-unquote attitude for one time, but you're the one who dragged out the whole I need some space thing for days. You're the one who's been cold to him. He made dinner. You get home late. He wants to talk to you about his day. You don't want to hear anything about it. Just no, please. So I'm glad that she finally sat down with him and they were able to have a talk. But I'm guessing things might not be so smooth between these two for so long, because keep in mind, eventually her and El Fuego are going to start making out. So I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what happens. Is she going to have a Calvin moment where maybe Preston and, her don't fully commit, but they want to see each other? I don't know. But he's like, look, I'll do whatever I have to make you love me. So we go over to the final scene and the movie's over. And again, Karen is just completely spaced out. And Aaron asks like, look, you've been quiet through the whole thing. Are you all right? And she's like, sad movie about a woman who had to pick between two men, and she picked the one who wasn't the ex-con. So did you pick this movie on purpose? No, I didn't even think about that. So it's like, are you trying to manipulate the situation? He's like, you know what? I'm just going to get ready to go. And she's like, no, just forget it. It's like, I know you need some things to work. I know you got some things to work on. And I love how the trailer made it seem like Aaron was an asshole, but no, it was actually him saying, yeah, I know you got some things to work on in reference to the Zach thing. And you don't? But he's like, no, it's like, you're the one who has your head in the clouds worried about some other guy, so I'm just going to give you the space you need. And it's like, no. And she pretty much pulls to Fatima. It's like, I don't want you to make love. It's like, I want to make love to you. He's like, no, I don't want you to make love to me. I want you to F me. So they start making out and whatnot. Aaron's kissing on her neck and everything, but then she says, Zach, and then he stops, and then that's the episode. And kudos to the episode, because I know that, the Medea family funeral, that ran until like maybe 10:01, 10:02. Then Sistas started up, and Sistas didn't end. I know as soon as I saw the clock, 9:02 was when Sistas started. I know it's like, wait, at 10:02, 10:03, I'm like, hell, no, keep the episode going till 11 o'clock. Don't stop. This episode was rather long. It had to be like 43 or 47 minutes or something. So I was pumped. But overall, this was a pretty decent episode. Like I said, the holes in Calvin's argument Danny's, just the way she reacted to Preston. And I mean, basically, he was treating her the way she was treating him. Thankfully, we didn't spend a lot of time with the Andy Gary crap. And, yeah, the Zach and Karen shit. But, I mean, the Zach and Fatima scene was awesome. So, overall, I think this was one of the best episodes of the season. I feel like I have no hesitation saying that. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. But at the very least, make sure you take a moment to hit like and subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.